Hey, shalom, shalom. Ha'ay Rob Tawab, which is good evening. Anakna wa ha'ay bar yasha'Allah walakim la'atam. Call Shabawai Baharakha wa Kakshaw Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah Ma'amath, which is certainly hey with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah to preach to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners, Nachamatham, Kaya, Ha Malakwath, Hashemayim, Quara, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call Layim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Cha, Kodash, Wa Mashana, Kabadim Zukaim, Nawa, Wa Mala'akim Shaw, Yasha Allah Zukaim, Cha, Gadawa, Wa Chasa, Wa Shalawam, Wa Barakim, Laha, Bachayim, Shawha, Gawiyash, Ashlawam. So all praise to the Most High Yahweh, which means He exists, Bahasham, in the name Yahweh Shah. He delivers double honors to the elders and apostles of Israel, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, mercy, peace, and blessings to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom, which means peace. All right, this is an article in RT. It reads, it says, Star Wars coming. Top U.S. general says Russia and China are rapidly building orbital capabilities. The Space Command head has said the possibility of a conflict in space is no longer just theoretical. It says General Stephen Whiting, head of the U.S. Space Command, said on Tuesday, speaking at the 39th Space Symposium at the command's headquarters in Colorado Springs. Whiting painted an alarming picture of Russian and Chinese orbital capabilities. China has built a kill web over the Pacific Ocean to find, fix, track, and yes, target U.S. and allied military capabilities. Whiting said, describing Beijing's efforts as moving at breathtaking speed. Since 2018, Russia has doubled and China has tripled the number of their intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance satellites in orbit, while also testing and fielding anti-satellite weapons. Meanwhile, the U.S. has the world's best space architectures, but its military constellations are optimized for a benign environment, he said. So it says optimized for a benign environment, which pretty much benign means something that's not practical or something that isn't going to be of any use when it comes to a real world scenario. So it says Russian and Chinese space weapons hold at risk our modern way of life and how we defend this nation. We must be able to deter and counter these threats when called upon to achieve space superiority, the general said. And it was one dude, he was like, he said, if there was a common enemy, would they not all team up together? And that's because, these nations know with the times that we're in. It says Whiting described a possible armed conflict in space as economical and environmentally devastating, perhaps for decades, and said the U.S. wishes to keep things in a state of enduring competition instead. Going back to that benign environment, it's not very practical, So it says Whiting described a possible armed conflict. The U.S. is already working with Canada, Australia, and the U.K. on the Operation Olympic Defender, a program intended to optimize space operations, according to the Space Command. Whiting announced that Germany, France, and New Zealand have been invited to join as well. He also revealed that the command's new capability assignment and validation environment has achieved minimum viable capability. The modeling and simulation laboratory will enable the U.S. military to derive better ways of deterring and planning to conduct operations for a war that's never happened and a war we don't want to happen, he said. Washington recently accused Moscow of having undisclosed anti-satellite capabilities, possibly nuclear in nature. Russian President Vladimir Putin said the U.S. claims were unfounded and a ploy to manipulate arms control talks. The Russian embassy in Washington has also accused the U.S. of using Russophobic slogans to mask its own plans to militarize space. All right. Which that's essentially how Babylon moves. They they like to downplay, or they want to control what everybody else is doing, while them themselves, are trying to pretty much mount up. And these nations are pretty much seeing that. That's why they're doing what they do behind closed doors. But let's get some precepts. This is Zechariah. chapter 5. We'll get verse 1. It says, Then I turned and looked up. So like, then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. I'll bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. All right, and who's the one? The thief. You know, the Lord's coming back to pretty much destroy the house of Esau. You know, I'm gonna keep going though. It says, Then the angel that talked with me went forth and said unto me, Lift up thine eyes. Lift up now thine eyes and see what it is that goeth forth. All right, and essentially this is going to, this was that roll was the chariot. All right, it was a chariot. And that the chariots, they pretty much represent the downfall of society. All right, this Edomite hegemony, Edomite rulership. All right, let's get another one. This is Yeshaya, Isaiah chapter 63. Look at verse 1. It says, Who is it that cometh from Edom with thy garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his peril, traveling in the greatness of his strength, I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? Pretty much symbolic because of what all the killing that the Lord is going to do. It says, For I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. And it's essentially what the Lord is coming back to do, you know, because he's coming back on that fathership. All right, let's get this. Let's get Revelation chapter 12. And we'll start at, I'm going to get verse 7. It says, And there was war in heaven. Mayaka'Allah and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven, you see, because essentially, I'm going to keep going. It says, And the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil, and Shaitan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him, because pretty much these nations are going to team up against the Lord, you know, but they're going to be utterly devastated, you know. But that's why it says, verse 7, there was war in heaven, all right, talking about in the upper atmosphere. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. All right, pretty much going to the other nations. Now I want to go back to that article because it said the title, Star Wars coming top U.S. General, says the possibility of a conflict in space is no longer just theoretical. General Stephen Whiting, head of the U.S. Space Command, said on Tuesday, you see. So we just had that eclipse, you know, which represents, which marks the sign of the Lord is returning soon, you know. It says no longer theoretical because it was theoretical when dude was like, if it wasn't, you know, if there was a war in space, you know, would they not all team up together? You know, it's no longer theoretical. It's imminent. You know, it's been imminent, but it's more imminent now because it's coming very soon. And they understand that, you know. So let me get this and I'm gonna go ahead and close it. This is let me get two more. This is Yahramia, Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. It says, Hear the word of the Lord, which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Yasha'Allah. Thus saith the Lord, Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. And they're dismayed, you know, essentially. All right, which the signs of heaven going into the eclipses. All right, the moon eclipse, the solar eclipses. All right, the stars, the comets. All right, et cetera, et cetera. You see, but then also, what else is in heaven? You know, the chariots also represent a sign. All right, it's a sign. It's a mark. It's a token that this Edomite hegemony is going down. You know, I'm gonna get Luke chapter 21 and verse 25, and it says, And there shall be signs in the sun. All right, it was just a solar eclipse, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and waves roaring. All right, it says men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken, you see. So pretty much the powers, all right, these elites are terrified, you know, because they understand that the Lord is coming back. You see, so they're doing everything that they can possibly do, all right, to give them some sort of hope, or that they actually can, you know, continue their houses, because in the scriptures it said that they feel like their houses are going to continue forever. You see, but that's the Lord pretty much raising them up, you know, going into Romans, raising them up just like he did with Pharaoh, or just to bring them down, you see. So I just want to go into that. Adawan Ratazaza Banaya Pa, Lord's will. That was a beautiful edification through the spirit. Wa Adawan Ratazah Atham Yashlay Lata Wabe. Lord's will. You all have a good night. Shalom Lakam. Peace unto you all. Shalom.